guten Morgen, hola, bonjour, and good morning. Well, this is a bit strange. This is a launch where I'm not with my UK buddies, I'm with the Germans. So I'm Billy No Mates today, but it is a Triumph launch, so there's lots of Brits here. Anyway, I digress. Welcome to the launch of the Triumph Daytona 660. I'm looking forward to this.
If you want the full tech lowdown, then please check out the previous video on the Daytona 660. There's a link in the description. If not, then just enjoy the ride.
And there we are over there, I'm not sure you can see it, but the beautiful sight of the city of Benidorm, or the town, or I don't know what it is, the village, the hamlet of Benidorm. I know I keep banging on about it, but you could put this engine in a bent shopping trolley and it would still be amazing. I was tossing up what to wear. It's not a one-piece leather bike. I mean, if it was a proper Daytona, yes, it would be one-piece leathers and some Julian riders, but it's not. This is a bike. They keep banging on about it. It's about bringing new riders in, younger riders, females. It's got a Street Triple derived 660 triple engine in, and Triumph don't make shit handling bikes, so you know it's going to be good. So I settled on jacket and jeans, and here we are. But there's just, this motor is, I mean, look, it doesn't have the peak power of previous Daytonas and Street Triples, etc., but it doesn't matter. I mean, everyday riding, but I could stay in third gear. I'll go fourth. Let's go fourth. I'll go fourth gear. Just no issues. Just still pulls. And it pulls right as well. Oh, what's this pillock doing? Yeah, fourth gear. Just plenty of torque, plenty of juice, and you couldn't get away with that on a twin or a four. So I'm not trying to preach. Well, I am, because I fucking love this engine. But you know, it's faultless. It's faultless. The sound, the function, everything about this engine is delicious. But let's talk about the cockpit. It is very roomy. It is very slender between the legs. Very, very comfortable. I know, listening to the tech guys last night in the briefing, they were talking about the R7 in this class is probably the raciest of the bunch, and that's, yeah, absolutely. The Kawasaki apparently is the most sort of relaxed riding position, and yeah, I agree. But this is also very, very nice. Pegs are low, plenty of room, not cramped. The bars are kind of really intuitive. They're like sort of yeah, it's like sitting down on a toilet with a pool cue in your hands that's been snapped directly in the middle. We've got three modes to play with. We've got road, sport and rain. Oh shit, now don't know why you want rain unless you were a massive tuna melt. So let's go to sport. It's really set to work. You can turn TC off as well. Obviously you can't turn ABS off because that is highly illegal. And obviously one of the first things you're greeted by are the Showa forks, separate function big piston bastards, and they are not adjustable, which is a bit of a shame. Like I said, you know, you kind of know the formula, you kind of know what you're getting before you've ridden this bike. It's based on the Triumph 660, which is a banger of a bike, and what they've done with the engine is gone full Supersport on it. You know, it revs harder, revs more, revs harder, more power, more peak power, more torque. It's like a Trident engine on steroids, and that thing was beautiful anyway, but it hasn't lost any of the magic of it, you know, the everyday sort of brap, the mid-range, the throttle response, any of that at all. It's still firmly there. They just made it better. And as for the chassis, look, I mean, non-adjustable suspension aside, which, you know, I'm sure some people will go, well, will it be £8.5 grand? I mean, geez, come on. If you want that, go buy a Street Triple. It's a proper bogey spec chassis. You just roll it, flick it, and do what you want with it. It's so light, what it feels like anyway. I forged my way to the front to have some playtime because I said the tyres were colder before we started off in the hotel this morning, so here we go. Really setting to work here. I mean, it's one of those bikes that you can just poodle around and it'll do everything brilliantly. But it, you know, yeah, you can get absorbed in the noise and the views and that triple engine, but it's only when you start to ride it hard that it really comes to life. And it loves to be spanked. I mean, the brakes are pretty damn good. These are Triumph's own brand. Forget about the badge. This is one of those examples. People get so wrapped up in, oh, it's got to have Brembos. Oh, blah, 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 blah. No, if they're good, they're good. It doesn't matter. The feels, they're quite, you know, there's not a lot of progression in the lever, but I mean, fuck me, you know, we're clutching at straws here over an £8.5 grand sort of sports tourer, aren't we? So plenty of power. That's all you need. It stops my fat ass anyway. And the other sort of contentious point is the suspension, non-adjustable suspension. Now, look, I'm a believer that you don't necessarily have to have adjustable suspension on a bike like this, as long as it's good. You know, there are plenty of other bikes in this sector with good non-adjustable suspension. I think the most polite way of putting it is, it's definitely not premium suspension. That's probably the best. So the front feels okay. It's you know, damping doesn't feel too cheap. Not a lot of weight transfer. I mean, it is a lovely chassis. It is a beautiful chassis. You know, regardless of suspension, it feels quite taut and compact and very sporty. Let's just say that. This is one of those roads where you know you're going to struggle. If you're on a proper sports bike, you struggle. You know, they're great at kind of on the side of the tyre, but for flicking from left to right constantly. They haven't got the flickability, the agility. You want a naked bike, and this is the perfect in between. Time for a cafe con leche. Well, as we tackle the urban climate of Constantina, what better time to give you an overview of the Daytona 660's urban prowess. If you've ridden lots of Triumphs, and particularly the sort of 660 range, you'll know, I mean, the throttle's beautiful, the clutches, I mean, it's all light. As I touched on before, you can use first, second, third, fourth gear if you want, and let the engine do the work. But yeah, piece of piss to ride, and because of just how slender it is, it'll definitely make a good commuter, a good traffic dissector. Right, Nigel? Oh, that's lovely, that. Yeah, there's no sort of nasty surprises, there's nothing shocking, there's no weird foibles. I mean, if you said to me, Triumph are building a Daytona 660, so far, this is exactly what I would have imagined. Before it was announced it was a 660, sure, I would have loved a proper 765 Daytona, but as soon as they announced the 660, this is what I had in my mind. And welcome to the historic market town of Alcoy, famous for having Diana Ross and Clint Eastwood as residents. Oh, my foreskin's sort of worked its way back and got a bit of a bell chafe going on. Awful, awful. I wouldn't wish this on anyone. But quite a few of the Brits were moaning about the suspension. I just don't get it. Look, like I said, it's the best way, the most polite way of saying or describing it is that it's not premium. It's not premium, but it's not shit either, that's for sure. It's kind of do it all, gets on with everything, and of course the elephant in the room for some, and the other cheap thing we need to talk about is the fact there's no quick shifter or blipper. And it's only really now, 2024, that really I'm like, why isn't there got a shifter or blipper? Every single bike, most bikes we ride now, certainly brand new bikes have got a shifter and a flipper, and there's no reason why it shouldn't. It's just a bit of a pain in the arse more than anything. Well, just had a splendid luncheon at the Mamma Mia Bar and Bistro. We had some patatas bravas, some jamon and queso croquettes, and for main we had chips. Oh, sorry, chips and some I don't know what it was, very special meat, and a couple of Fanta Naranjas. Back to the job in hand. We're professionals. Haven't really talked about the what's in front of me. The dash is fairly minimal. Switchgear is, you know, it's an 8.5 grand bike. That's what we've got, and the heated grips is a lovely accompaniment for today. I mean, it's just impossible not to love this engine. There's power everywhere. As I said, you've got a choice of gears, and you don't get that with any other bike in this class. You can be lazy, surf the bottom end, surf the mid-range, or you can utilise the top end, let it scream, which, you know, it's not a waste of time on this bike. You can actually give it some, and it does go. It's not just the soundtrack, it's backed up by performance as well, which is always nice. And man, it does hustle. There's no denying it. It's one of the most fluid in the class, that's for sure. The whole package is just pretty sexy, to be honest with you. Definitely likes a bit of a shorter gear to help it get turned and keep it turning. But you can, it's one of those bikes you can just pick it up, tuck it in mid-corner. It's not a Supersport bike, let's just get that out of the way. For those of you still thinking the Daytona 660 is a, oh fuck me, Supersport bike. Loads of ground clearance too, which again, in this class is pretty rare, apart from the R7 and a brilliant. Whee! Yeah, these brakes are fucking good. Damn good. Like I said, lack a bit of progression, but you know, the stopping power's there. Ooh. That's a good point actually. It's not you know, when you have to turn obviously TC off to do wheelies, but it's not super easy to wheelie. It's not a, you've got to give it a fair old clutcher. You know, riding hard like this, or hardish, that's when you notice the suspension, I guess. The damping is fantastic, especially when you're coming on and off the brakes and releasing the brakes. Yeah, it just doesn't have the composure of more premium suspension, that's for sure. Proper Supersport bikes, I guess in many ways they'd be harder on roads like this, because they're so focused and a bit more one-lined, whereas, you know, bikes like this, they're designed to be sort of agile, the light handling, etc, etc. You can sort of pick it up mid-corner, chuck it in mid-corner, change the line. Ooh, fuck me. Yeah, not as fussy, definitely not. I think one of the Triumph guys summed it up perfectly in the tech briefing last night. He said, this is a road biased sports bike, and that's kind of where we're at these days with bikes like these. You know, they'd be 3, 4, 5 seconds a lap slower than, for instance, Daytona, the previous Daytona, but they're better on the road. Swings and roundabouts, mate, you know what I mean? I'm certainly not begging for more power, that's for sure. There's enough excitement in the engine, there's enough poke everywhere to get you out of trouble and to be fun. The tyres aren't really that good. Feels like you're riding on cold slicks. No feeling on the side of the tyre, and the only feeling you get is when the both tyres kind of give up a little bit. But it's not like it's just one set of tarmac, one stretch of road. It's consistent over the whole lot, which is a bit weird because Triumph normally, they're pretty decent with their tyres, their tyre game. This is nice, isn't it? Like Cheddar Gorge. Fuel economy. So I couldn't really give a shit about fuel economy, but I respect your opinions and wants and needs. So fuel very low. We started off with 14 litres, see how much we can get in. Gee, how long was the route today?
171 kilometres.
171 kilometres. What's that in miles?
107.
So 9 litres to start. Oh shit, so what's that? 18. So 9 litres again. So 9 litres for 100 miles. I'll work it out and do the maths. So Steve, we've had lots of questions, and some questions I can't answer, so we want to give the people what they want. Will there be an R model?
So no, we're not developing an R model. What we are developing is, we've developed a race kit for the bike. So we've developed that with PHR, with Peter Hickman Racing.
Yeah.
So if people want to convert their bike into something that's a bit more track focused, all of those parts will be available for sale.
Okay. Why hasn't it got a quick shifter?
So there is a quick shifter that's going to be available as an accessory.
That's not why. Why hasn't it got a quick shifter, Steve?
So it hasn't got a quick shifter because the focus is on having a really accessible price point.
Yeah.
So people who want to pay the extra money for a quick shifter, it'd be about £240 plus fitting.
Right.
So if you want one, then you can have it fitted. But to keep the price really accessible for as many people as possible, it's not fitted as standard.
No, fair enough. Third and finally, there's been lots of questions. I mean, I don't know why you'd want to do it, but can you fit a 765 motor in this chassis?
Well, I must say we haven't tried to, but there would be a lot of complication to fit in a 765 engine in this chassis. Yeah. So
it's not straightforward, but
it's not straightforward.
No. Okay. Right. Thanks, Steve.
All right. No problem.
Well, that's it. We're done. Day in the sunshine around Benidorm. Beautiful. This is a bike that is so good at pretty much everything, and yet really, and this is no fault of his own, it kind of lacks a little bit of wow factor, and that's just because of the class of bike it is. That said, talking of classes, this new sport bike cup class in BSB, the twins class, if you run one of these, it's basically like cheating. This is going to be so good. The chassis, when you put decent suspension on it, is going to be right up there with the best of them. But the thing is, this motor, it's going to be, obviously when you've got R7s and Aprilias and you're hunting horsepower at the top end, you sacrifice mid-range and sort of linear power. With this thing, it's just going to be, as I said, just like cheating. Anyway, earlier I asked for some Facebook questions, and I think there's over 200 the last time I looked, so I'm going to filter it down. Corey Knowles asked, how does it compare to the Aprilia 660 or R7, I guess is the main thing. Also, should it hold the Daytona name, or should Triumph just satisfy us all and make a Daytona 765? The last part of that question, absolutely, please Triumph, just make the Daytona 765. Although, I can safely say it's not going to happen. First part of the question, the 660 and the Aprilia 660 and the R7. The R7, ergonomics-wise, it's been designed for track. It's so uncomfortable on the road, lengthy road rides. The Aprilia slightly more comfortable, but again, I guess it's more track biased coming from the Aprilia factory. Whereas this kind of does everything else just as well, just comfier, easier, smoother. But yeah, I guess it's what flavour you want. Do you want to go full race, or do you want to go road? And I'll cut back to what I was saying earlier. To typify this bike, the sort of general synopsis is, this bike is a road biased sports bike. That's it. That's really kind of all you need to know. Charles Blade says, would you rather buy a used 675R with O-lins and pocket difference, or get this new bike? They're just completely different bikes. They are completely different bikes. It's probably worth comparing this bike to the previous, or the original Daytona 600, not the triple, not the 675, but the original Daytona 600. That's kind of where we're at. A bit sports story, road biased. Yeah, please, let's just get off the Daytona as we know it bandwagon, because this ain't it. Mel Gantley, is it more than just a Trident 660 with fairings and clip-ons? Absolutely yes. I mean, the engine is a big upgrade. It's way sportier. You can compare them because it's essentially the same engine, just with a feast of upgrades. But it's way sportier. The top end is just another level, which again, it doesn't sacrifice the bottom end as well. So top marks, Triumph, top marks. Brian, I watched a review on another channel and the reviewer said the motor was the gem, but they said the handling was poor with vague front end that tended to understeer. Wondered if you have a similar experience with it. The vague front end comes from the tyres. As I said, I'm just surprised that Triumph went down this route because normally they've been really good with tyre selection. The bike itself, let's not get confused. This is a beauty in terms of handling. It's very sporty, yet it will cover miles comfortably, easily. Look, it's cheap suspension, but it's not as crude as some are making out. And I am surprised that some journalists who I've heard complain about the suspension, and I'm genuinely shocked because, how do I put this? They're probably comparing the bike to a race bike, to race bikes, and the bikes they shouldn't be comparing it to. So, and those journalists probably don't know what they're talking about. Chris Jordan, does it pass the intake fist test? Well, Chris, let's have a look. No. Now this is an interesting one from David Lyson, I think that's how you pronounce it. Is the front end look still weird with only one light on low beam? That's quite an interesting one because we've been asked or told to in all the sort of videos, shots we've done today, to have the bike on full beam. So I think I kind of put two and two together. Triumph also think it's a bit weird if it's just on low beam. So yeah, that's a bit of a random one. But Andrew Lynch, would the 20-year-old Daytona 600 beat it in a race? Absolutely no chance. I mean, this thing, it's probably making similar power, but in terms of handling, this will piss it by seconds. Ryan Brown, does it give you a Casey Stoner? Not particularly, no. As good as it is, as I mentioned at the top of this piece, it's a really good bike. It sounds amazing. It goes very well, but kind of lacks that little je ne sais quoi. Graham Hayden, this is not a bad question. Would it be fun on the UK roads, which are pretty bad? I guess fun's the wrong word, but one thing we didn't test today was the suspension on kind of shitty roads. So most of it was fairly nice tarmac, but yeah, we'll have to wait until the UK. Look, I guess the chassis is quite compliant anyway. There's enough flex and feel in it, so it's not going to be horrendous, put it that way. Pirapon Suantra, if I bought one home to my wife and kids, would they leave me for a man with a proper Daytona? Final one, because we'll be here all day otherwise. Ergos for tall blokes. Lots of tall blokes have messaged me or asked about the ergos on this bike. Plenty of room, very comfortable. You have no problem whatsoever, regardless of size. I think the only kind of issue might come with, because it's a relatively low seat height, 4 newer riders, 4 females, as they wanted to get these on the bikes. So the peg to seat may be an issue if you've got long legs, but apart from that, you'll have absolutely no problems at all. Anyway, I've waffled on for long enough. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, bye.